Hello, this is Photography Gamer. Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm reviewing Disco Elysium, the final cut. The game is available on PC and all major consoles. Disco Elysium, the final cut is a point-and-click role-playing game developed by ZA/UM. The game sees you play as a detective in a fictional world as you try to solve crimes, all whilst trying to figure out who you are via these subconscious dialogue sections. The Final Cut version adds a variety of improvements to the original release, with the most notable addition being the inclusion of voice acting for the vast majority of the narrative. Okay, so what is the game like to play? Well, firstly, you have to choose your character archetype, ranging from deep thinkers, sensitive types, or a physical meathead. Then you wake up in your apartment and you try to figure out who you are and what the hell is going on. Disco Elysium is a traditional point-and-click adventure where you'll be scanning the environment for points of interest to interact with. These will involve puzzles, places to search, and items to find. But the vast majority of this game focuses on conversation. Now, when I say the game has a lot of talking in it, that could well be the biggest understatement in history. The amount of dialogue is quite frankly staggering, and for the most part, it is pretty well written, with characters who feel fleshed out and varied from one to the next.
Mr. Clare told him to... how did he put it? Fuck off, midget.
As you talk, explore and solve these puzzles, you'll earn skill points that can be spent on things like your intellect or your physique, with each of these having a direct impact on solving certain problems as you go along. There's also a degree of randomness to the game, like you might have a chance to gain some really important information from someone, but if it fails and the roll of the dice doesn't go your way, it could result potentially in a fatal moment where you die. For me, the one thing that makes the game stand out is the way it deals with your character's inner monologue. As you explore, coloured icons occasionally will pop up near your character. These colours relate to different parts of your mind. Now, you don't have to click on these, but if you do, you can really delve into your own thoughts and have some very interesting revelations about your character as you develop.
His eyes are milky white and blind to the world, protruding comically from their sockets. There is no one home. Just subaquatic terrors there. A lush layer of coal now covers your skin, sinking into the wrinkles. Your hands look ancient. From the right shoulder to the solar plexus. Each time the lines intersect, a small white star is formed in their crossing.
Much like in real life, clothing has an impact on how you feel and how others treat you. Each piece you find has a unique trait, like, for example, increasing your logic, your sex appeal, or your authority. It's a very clever system, as is the usable item one, like you can carry around things in each hand, like a shopping bag in one to collect bottles that help pay your rent, a tool that could unlock boxes, or you could just have a bottle of wine in one hand and a bottle of wine in the other hand, and just descend into a series of self-loathing ramblings, just like real life. From time to time, you'll have an idea. These ideas can further be researched in a menu, and that's really what it does. It lets you think about that subject over a period of time. Then, when the time's up, you get this revelation or an epiphany, and it might add or adjust your character's stats or abilities. Okay, so the game world, let's have a look at that. I would say, it's very small compared to any other game. It's tiny, really. But when you factor in how long the conversations go on, you never really notice how big the game world is. For me, it's the variation of the characters that kept the world from feeling small or samey, and the writers did a really good job of varying them.
What can I say? The Union employs a giant covered in tattoos. A racist giant. I guess that's part of their big tent organization now.
It's a sub-Rosa radio station that broadcasts real murders with real victims. Some people pay good money to get off on it.
But with so much dialogue to listen to, it's natural that there's going to be moments where you switch off. I'd say on the whole, Disco Elysium does a really good job of keeping the narrative moving with good characters, interesting characters, plot developments, and little insights. But with these good points come some bad points, like there are moments where it takes an absolute eternity to get anywhere. It's like you're talking to the Ents in Lord of the Rings, 45 minutes later you've found out their name and that's it. So it's definitely a game for people who are like literary fans, book fans. But for me, as someone who does enjoy reading occasionally, even I did struggle on several occasions to stay focused on the conversations because, you know, some of the characters are incredibly dull or pretentious to listen to, and 30 minutes of that is enough to push you off a cliff.
That's really not a proper romance story. That's more like everyday life. I guess, yes, people in books are always very interesting, especially the romance people.
Okay, visually, the game has this nice, lovely style, very akin to like a sort of an oil painting, really something anyone who's into art will very much appreciate. Very dreamy, pastel shaded characters, locations, really nice to look at. The music, it's cool, it adds another dimension to the journey, but it's the voice acting really that makes the game. The final cut, it's much more palatable when compared to the original release, meaning that you don't have to read about 7 billion pages of information. You can just sit back, listen to the vast majority of the narrative, and the voice actors are, on the whole, very good.
It's just a racist mug. What's there to read here? Not much. Oh boy, here we go. What are you going to say about a broken, tossed-away mug that you dug out of the garbage?
Then for your address. Hold up, Jules. He doesn't fucking know where he lives? Did I hear that right? Seems like it, sir. No, fuck him. Don't tell him anything. You understand?
Okay, good and bad points. What's good? The characters are in depth and well imagined. The game looks gorgeous. Sound-wise, the music is top-notch, and for the most part, the voice acting is also. It's very well written on the whole. Yes, some parts do bore you to tears, but others will often leave you open-mouthed at the sheer audacity of it. And it's a very unique, original, and creative game we rarely get to see these days, so that in itself should be celebrated. Bad points, the conversations are very long-winded, it does start to drift in the second half, it can be hard to focus on what exactly you're supposed to be doing, and the randomness of some of the death moments will drive you insane if you haven't saved it regularly. Be warned. Okay, verdict. Disco Elysium The Final Cut is a fascinating point-and-click narrative-driven experience that's possibly the most unique game I've ever played. It shows genuine creative thought, intelligent writing, funny moments, and a disregard for the politically correct. It's also quite pretentious and boring, and on one occasion it did send me to sleep, but can't complain. But on the whole, it's a wonderful piece of art with so much care and attention to detail within it. It's hard not to be gobsmacked by its sheer unique quality. Despite some negatives, it's a remarkable game that I'm really delighted I actually got to play. I'm delighted it got made in the first point, and in a world where all games are open world dross, Disco Elysium offers something more nuanced, and I'd strongly recommend it for anyone who enjoys the surreal or the avant-garde. Okay, scoring, I would give Disco Elysium The Final Cut a 9 out of 10. Very good game. Okay, that's the review. Thanks for watching. This is Photography Gamer signing off. Thank you.